Today on Commander Replay, we check out this competitive Aralia list and see how it does against a bunch of CEDH combo decks. Next on Commander Replay. If you guys are interested in playing webcam games of Commander with me and supporting the channel, feel free to check out the Eventbrite link in the description below. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some competitive Aurelia today. Take a look at this opening hand. 2 lands, Tithe? Feels pretty good. Let's keep. No fast mana per se. What do we got for HATEBEARs? We got an Aven Mind Sensor. Maybe not the most crushing HATEBEAR, at least in terms of people playing spells, but does shut down the tutors, and that's always a good thing. Opponent gonna lay down the old pre-game Gemstone Caverns. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. Getting down to that fast mana. There's a Mana Vault. Mana Vault is cool. Let's get the... I guess let's go for the Sacred Foundry. Untapped. A lot of choices right here. A lot of choices. Could go Serra Ascendant for the beats. We could go Mana Vault for the mana. I think I'm going to go Mana Vault first. I don't know, just having that extra mana there. If we draw something real big, Winona's pretty cool, but we only have the Mind Sensor to trigger it in the moment. And that's something that we may do. But we'll see. We'll see how things go here. So yes, as I said, we're playing competitive Aurelia the Warleader. The basis of this deck list I found from a YouTube channel called Split Second, and I'll link that in the description below. They had built a competitive Aurelia deck. So I took their deck list, I did some playtesting with it late last night, and the basic premise of it was very good. It's like every single HATEBEAR, basically. I found that that was really slowing the game down in a way that you can give Aurelia a chance to get into play. When you've got 35 HATEBEARs to drop in. Ooh, opponent's getting some mana rocks right there. So Yidris goes Blood Crypt into Izzet Signet. They're on 3 mana already. It's pretty crazy. Oona goes Swamp, Mox Diamond, Charcoal Diamond, so also getting that mana. And Krenko gonna drop in an Ancient Tomb and a Magerite Stone. Sounds good. But anyway, so I was playtesting with their deck last night, and the premise was very good. The problem I noticed is that they weren't running enough lands, and they weren't running enough fast mana. They had very few 1-drops in the deck, and, you know, CEDH, you want fast mana, you want 0 and 1 cost artifacts. I don't even think there was a Mana Vault in the deck initially. I think I added that one in. I have to double check the original list, but they were really, really light on fast mana. So I've increased the mana production, and like I almost won both of the games that I tested. I just kept missing lands, and there was even Howling Mine in play both games, and was still missing lands because the land cap was like 29 or something like that. So I brought it up to 31. Would probably prefer that it's around 33. Added land tax, tithe, that sort of stuff. Added all kinds of 1 mana things we can talk about at the end here. So we draw an Arcane Signet. Let's play the Mana Confluence. We're on the play. That's going to make that tithe just a little bit awkward. We've got a total of 5 mana right now. We could go something like... maybe this turn we just go... If Yidris plays a land, we can tithe. Okay, yeah. Well, let's do that. So let's get the Arcane Signet into play. We'll hold off on the Mana Vault. If we need to Aven Mind Sensor for something, we could do that. Gemstone Caverns, potentially removing that awkwardness of tithe on the play. Frantic Search for opponent. Yep, that's a pretty good one. But anyway, yeah, so I increased the mana production of this deck significantly, and I think that's what's going to help. Their original list was really heavy on 4-drops, and like, you know, 4-drops without a ton of fast mana is kind of a no-go in CEDH. You can have some 4-drops, but you can't have like loads and loads of them. I think there was north of 10 or around 10, which is, that's pretty heavy. Pretty heavy on 4-drops for, you know. Anyway, you guys get the idea. So the main thing that I saw in testing is that I have a bunch of 2 and 3 drops in my hand, but I'm really awkward not having turn 1 plays and, you know, having multiple 2 drops, and it's just slow to get everything. So, you know, getting something explosive like this, we got this Mana Vault that's going to allow us to do some stuff. There's that 3rd land we want. There's a Talisman for opponent. Yep. All the mana production. So hopefully smooth all that out. Like anything, you know, this is my first time with this specific build since I've made a bunch of updates to it. So I think it's going to be better, but like anything, it's going to need a lot of playtesting. I'm not an expert CEDH deck builder, but, you know, I took the basis of what someone else started that has a pretty good idea of what's going on in the format and added the things that I thought are really going to help push it over the top, namely a lot of fast mana and a lot of 1-drops. The one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, I don't actually know where all the damage is going to come from that we need to close out the game. When you're using a lot of HATEBEARs are cool, they slow the game down, but they don't actually generate player killing amounts of damage super easily. So that's kind of the big question mark right now, is that, yeah, we can lock the game down, but where are we going to get this damage to actually close it out? Winona, I think, is one of the options to do so. It's not like a super heavy build around me, Winona, but like, you know, just having a 4-drop that's going to get you more stuff into play, that's free value, so that's going to be the plan. Opponent cracked a fetch. We could have mind censored, but I don't know if it's... Yeah, it'd probably be good, but... Oh, hey now. Spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause their controller to search the library. Well, that's going to shut down our mind censor. Now's a good time to fire off that tithe and get those lands, so glad we didn't mind censor. Graveyard's going to get exiled, so probably not a great reason to get Mistveil Plains right here. So we'll get Plateau and a Plains. Opponent gonna mill the Yidris player, and Graveyards will get exiled. Ooh, hit some stuff, yep. Veil of Summer, Mox Diamond, Preordain, Frantic Search. Ashiok, so incredibly strong. What do we got over here? Cabal Coffer's Brainstorm exiled for... Oh, nope, those are still in the graveyard of opponent, but we'll probably drop a Rest in Peace at some point. Got to figure out exactly what we're doing with all our mana, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Taking a look at what our opponents are playing today. So first up, we've got, and this is a pickup game of Magic Online, so no Patreons today. But we do have a Yidris Maelstrom Wielder. Yidris, 4-color, 5/4 with trample. When it hits an opponent, every spell in your hand gains Cascade. I don't think I've seen a competitive Yidris deck, so I don't really know what to expect. I assume some sort of spell-based combo. That would be like the most logical thing. But I don't actually know what the win condition in that deck is. You know, I only dabble in CEDH, so a lot of it's still pretty new to me. The things that are really common, I see a lot of, and I know what to expect from those, but the less common stuff is, you know, it's kind of a new experience to me every time, so, you know, get out the old notepad, keep track of what they're doing, and, you know, file it away for later in case you see it again. Anyway, that brings back to our turn. That's a mana crypt. Yeah, more fast mana. All right. Let's get the Plateau into play. How much mana does that put us on? That puts us on 2, 3... 4 naturally, and up to 7 with the Mana Vault, and 9 with this Mana Crypt. Oh yeah, okay. So I think, let's get Winota into play. That's a pretty good one. And then we've got 5 left. We could go Rest in Peace, even Mind Sensor, but we'd have to do it all main phase. I think that's good enough, honestly. Rest in Peace shuts off a lot of nonsense with like Underworld Breach and other annoying things that could happen. And Mind Sensor shuts down a lot of tutoring, and even though you don't catch them by surprise, I think it might still be good enough. So, yeah, let's do it. Exile those graveyards. Players can't have graveyards. And get the even Mind Sensor. Opponents are pretty low on cards, so like I'm not expecting a ton of removal right here. Continuing on our opponents, next up we have an Oona Queen of the Fae. Oona's going to be an infinite mana, make people mill their libraries kind of thing. That I have seen before. There might be some other tricks in there too. But I know definitely just, you know, make infinite mana. Have an opponent exile their library. It's pretty good. One of my friends runs the deck, but I've never actually faced her Oona deck. So I've always seen her playing it, you know, when she's in other pods. And we just, we never actually played a game together where she had her Oona deck. So keep an eye on that. And then finally, we've got a Krenko Mob Boss. Krenko going to be fairly straightforward. Krenko, as far as I understand it, I haven't seen a full CEDH build of Krenko, but as far as I understand it, make goblins, make more goblins, attack mercilessly, probably use some stuff like Perforos, Throne of the God Pharaoh, get extra damage in there. All seems like things that Krenko might be doing. Just a lot of creature-based damage is what I would expect from Krenko. Opponent gets their Yidris into play. Yep. We'll need to be careful with that. Even with 2 cards in hand, those 2 cards turn into 4 cards and they all cascade into stuff. Don't know that we have, like... If we leave Winota back, they probably don't attack us, which is at least keeps our life total. You know what? We can cast Serra Ascendant. Serra Ascendant can act as the blocker. That's fine. Actually, you want to know what we can do this turn? We can cast Aurelia this turn. That seems like the place we want to be. Now, Oona's holding up mana. Holding up mana is not great. That's a Treasonous Ogre for opponent. Yep. I am completely fine if they want to burn their life total to make some mana right here. We'll make our job easier. I would imagine also in this Yidris deck, there's probably things like Wheel of Fate, some wheels that they're going to hit, and if they refill our hand, it's fine with me. Wow, Krenko going down to 1. That's an Impact Tremors. There we go. All right, all right. I mean, I hope they don't just win right here, but I don't imagine that that's going to be the case. Krenko coming into play, 5 mana left, triggers the Impact Tremors, sure. Magus of the Wheel, okay, they can wheel if they want to. Impact Tremors. If they hit like a Neheb and get a whole bunch more mana. Oh, last chance. Oh my. Okay. Okay. Lightning bolt would kill them. Don't know if anyone has one. Opponent's going to negate that last chance. That's probably a really good idea. And now, I mean, we just swoop in and kill them easily. And also, that clears out that counterspell, so I'm feeling pretty good. Only thing we got to watch out for, I mean, Oona's got one card left. Hopefully it's not a counterspell or a kill spell. And I think we're about to have a bit of success right here. Keep the Mana Vault tapped. Mana Crypt flip. Tails? Lost the flip. Brings us down to 31. That's a Dockside Extortionist. There's a good number of artifacts in play right now. That's pretty cool. Down to 30. As long as you have 30 or more life, so we don't want to lose any more life. Hopefully gain some life back. Keep the Sarah Ascendant nice and large. Let's play the planes. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 artifacts and enchantments in play for opponents. Let's play the old Dockside Extortionist. I imagine that this would bait a counter. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. It's a lot of mana production. Dockside coming in. There's the ETB. There's 7 treasure tokens. I'm actually going to skip the mana confluence right here to stay at 30. We'll use the treasure tokens. Cast the old Warleader. I kind of want this goblin to wheel. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't want opponents to have full hands. Maybe I don't. Okay, that being the case, yeah, we'll take them out. Let's go to combat. Winota into the Ashiok. Even Mind Sensor into the goblin opponent. Aralia into... Who's scarier? Yidris doesn't have open mana. Let's go their way with the Aralia. Hopefully we can get a hit with Winota. Again, the deck isn't built around Winota, so it's not going to be, like, super consistent. I definitely did that wrong with the triggers, but Aurelia trigger on the bottom so that your creature comes in untapped. Oops. That's a Hero of Bladehold. That's a really big hit. Send that into the Yidris opponent. Won't have haste, unfortunately. And a whiff right there. Yeah, that's going to happen, but, you know, even one free creature is still a free creature. And in this case, a pretty good one. Maybe we should have kept Ashiok alive, honestly. I don't know. Goblin opponent goes down. Like I said, totally okay with them burning all their life. And one of the things you'll notice with a lot of red decks tend to be like all in on this one thing. Godo is very similar in that it's just, you know, get Godo and Helm into play and nothing else really matters. But hope they don't have an answer is basically how a lot of red decks operate. So who are we trying to take out? Oona's like kind of scary, to be completely honest. Yidris, they're both scary. They're both scary. We'll go make sure we keep our Winota alive. Send the flyers into the other opponent. 2 more Winota triggers. Let's see what we hit. We got a Thalia and a Tajik. Tajik shuts off Pyroclasm. Thalia makes lands and creatures super difficult to play. Ew. Board wipe protection. Blue-black. Blue-black not going to have damage-based removal. Yidris could. Yidris could. We'll go for the Thalia, as much as I really like the idea of going for a some semblance of board wipe protection. And 1 more Winota trigger. Let's see what we hit. That's Captain Land Storm. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. Send that in over there as well, since it's indestructible. So if opponents wheel, we draw a lot of cards. We draw cards. We have a ton of mana. It's turn 4, by the way. Take a little screen print of this. Post this up on the old Twitter. Only thing we're missing right now is some card draw. But, you know, wheels exist in this format. If no one draws anything and no one has removal, then we're in a very good place. I mean, if you're going to overcommit, might as well go all the way, right? Drop down this Sarah Ascendant. Oh, we sacrifice the treasure. Lannery Storm gets a little bigger. I have some real question marks about Lannery Storm. Like, it's cool. It makes mana. It's 3 mana to get into play, which makes it awkward. If it was 2, it would be pretty sweet. But it does increase your mana production. In this case, we had a very good Dockside Extortionist, and the games where you have Dockside Extortionists are going to be very different than the ones you don't. The thing can just make so much mana. It's just absurd. But in the games that you don't find it, I have the question of, how good is this Lannery Storm actually? Yeah, so we have a sea of blockers, so opponent going to send the Yidris over to the Oona opponent. Yidris going to get that trigger. Yep. I mean, they need to hit big. I haven't done the math, but I'm pretty sure we have lethal on our opponents. With the Battle Cry and the tokens, and then any potential hits off of Winota, we're talking about a lot of damage. Opponent's got Cascade. Let's see what they do. Birds of Paradise into the Cascade. Into a Lotus Bloom. Opponent saying their Krenko wasn't a full CDH deck, but, you know. If a game slows down at all, Krenko is going to have a plenty good chance in a game of CEDH. Krenko is certainly fast enough. The only problem is, can it handle the interaction? Birds of Paradise in tapped. Opponent's got 2 cards left in hand. We can hope that they are lands. one does not appear to be so. Oh, it's an Underworld Breach. Well, it's a good thing we dropped that Rest in Peace. And that's exactly why I did it. Thinking exactly about Underworld Breach, actually. That's a Pact of Negation. Yeah, I think we are in the clear. Well, we still got to get through Oona. They got one card. They'll draw a second. They've got some open mana, so who knows? Could be like Brainstorm or something like that, you know. No, they've already used Brainstorm, but who knows? Some sort of blue cantrip that looks at stuff. Ah, Gilded Drake. No, that's bad. Into a Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay, so we'll lose Aralia, which is not great, but probably Aralia. This card's OP. Hope for Homeward Path off the top. That's what we're doing. I'm going to steal a Serra Ascendant. Oh, nice. Big punt from opponent. You want to know why? Because that's a 1/1. Congratulations. That's an easy one to mess up. I'm not sure that I wouldn't have made the same mistake. Maybe I wouldn't have just because I play Serra Ascendant enough, but if you don't play a lot of Serra Ascendant, if you don't play Warleader CEDH, you may not be super familiar with the rules. A problem that's easily solved by reading the card, but who reads the cards, right? We all know what they do out of memory. That's what allows plays like this to happen. Oh, feeling pretty good. Opponent saying GG. Mana Crypt, Mana Vault. Might as well untap the Vault since we don't have anything to do. Opponent scoops. One down. Untap the Vault. Mana Crypt, Tails. We draw an Ancient Tomb. Yeah. Go to combat. Send in everything. This is easy lethal. Oh my, that's so many triggers. So, Aurelia to the bottom. Battlecry above that. And then I think the rest of these don't matter so much. Auto these triggers. Whiff on the first Winota. Whiff on the second Winota. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. It's not going to hit every time, but it's going to hit occasionally. There's a Robber of the Rich. Card that I'm interested to try out. I haven't really seen it before this deck list all that much. Whiff again. Hero Blade Hole trigger. Battlecry trigger. Combat trigger. Opponent's going to block the Winota. Sure. Down they go. -13. So we would have had even more damage when the second Battlecry went off, plus any other Winota hits. Yeah, that was easy lethal. Bam. Winter Orb next. Yeah. That worked incredibly well. I'm actually surprised about how good that went. Let's take a peek at the deck list real quick. Okay, so here's my deck list. And just like kind of pay attention to the silhouette here and the mana curve, and I'll show you the original deck list. So here's the original deck list. You'll notice 13 4-drops, including Helm of the Host. That's a pretty tough sell for me. But a lot of 2-drops, not very many 1-drops was the problem. Not a lot of 0 and 1. That was a major problem that I noticed with the deck, is that there just wasn't a lot of fast mana, and this is a lot of clunk. This is a lot of clunk for a CEDH game. This is probably fine for like normal Commander, but for games that are only going to go maybe 5-6 turns, that is a whole lot of 4-drops. So switching back to my build, cut down the 4-drops down to 10, and I'd still probably like to drop maybe 1 or 2 more off there if I could. I'm still trying to figure out which things don't need to be in the deck. That's always the hardest thing to figure out. But we got 11 1-drops, added Chrome Mox to the deck, added Springleaf Drum, added Mana Vault, Curse of Opulence, more mana production. Got a Weathered Wayfarer in here, was in the original deck list. Maybe live without it. Big additions though, Tithe and Land Tax. You're running a low land count deck, you need things that find you lands. So, and I even thought about running Gift of Estates also, because we're at 31 lands, like we see right here. I'd prefer to be at like 32 or 33. And yeah, you need ways to find lands. You need to be able to produce mana. Those are all things that you need to be able to do. Like, you saw that Yidris deck. That Yidris deck had, I don't know, with the Signets, probably 7 or 8 mana at least available to them. So mana production is so important. We did hit the Dockside Extortionist in this game, which just really allows you to do some wild stuff if your opponents are playing artifacts and enchantments. I've had it where everyone's playing the green deck and it's all mana dorks, and sometimes that's terrible. So that's not great. Lannery Storm's still the one that I'm very interested in testing out. Robber of the Rich, one that I haven't had a great look at, but I would like to see it a little bit more. Tectonic Giant, I would also like to get a better feel on. The abilities look great, and I've done the exile thing a little bit in some standard games of Commander. It does force some hard decisions on yourself, because you're always exiling one that you can't cast, which I don't love, but you can also choose the damage mode when it's time to get the damage going, so it's a thing, but I'd definitely like to see that a bit more. Like I said, I'd like to trim down the 4-drops a little bit, but we're still doing a lot of the lockout stuff in this deck. We've got a Static Orb, we've got a Winter Orb, we've got Gear Report Ether Grid as a way to tap both of those orbs, and it also shoots down mana dorks, which is real nice. And if you get the Dockside Extortionist going, you get a bunch of treasures like we did, you can kill a lot of things with that. We also have special tech that I stumbled onto somewhat recently, was Blink Mothwell. Taps a non-creature artifact, which in our case is going to be both Static Orb and Winter Orb. Has brought up the question of, do I add Howling Mine to this deck? If everyone's going to draw a lot of cards anyway, because the blue decks will just draw a lot of cards, does giving them 1 or 2 additional cards make that much of a difference? Or does it become not worth it if now we're drawing extra cards and we're kind of keeping somewhat on pace of them? We're getting to the things we need, and then at some point we get to the Ether Grid, we get to the Blink Moth, we can tap it, and so they stop drawing. Seems interesting. I don't know. But we do also have Spirit of the Labyrinth in the deck, which maybe a little bit of a nombo with that idea, but it does shut down wheels, it does shut down a lot of stuff like that. We don't have the 4-mana cat. And that was one that I was thinking about. There are decks that will hose anyone trying to do the what's the 4-mana blue-black guy that if a wheel happens it's real bad? That one. Can't think of the name in this moment. They draw all the cards for you. Whatever that thing is. So Alms Collector gives you some kind of play against that, but so far just the sheer number of HATEBEARs have done a really good job of shutting off all the combos, and I've been really impressed about how this has actually been playing. Like I said last night, I had some mana trouble, so now that I've smoothed out the mana a little bit, things went awesome right here. So I think the only thing left to do is try this thing out again. So I think I'm going to film another one with this, so stick around for game 2. Do be sure to check out the MTG channel Split Second, which is where I got the base idea for this deck of just, especially like this 2-drop slot is largely unchanged. It is almost exactly how they had it. And I think that's really what the backbone of this deck is using these things to slow the game down to get to all this other cool stuff. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have one new Patreon supporter in Sane Hatter. Sane Hatter, you are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to use the TCG affiliate player link, as it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything.